going forward, I'm not really so sure I'll spend any more money on the local barleys. I feel like I should just save that money and put it towards some of the older yesteryear bottles that are still relatively affordable. Welcome to Whiskey and SV. I'm your host Sam, and today we're going to be drinking some Springbank. So I have in my possession the latest and greatest from Springbank, the local barley 8-year, which I do have a bottle of my own, but this one is on loan from my good friend AJ, who was gracious enough to let me borrow his bottle to review. And also to see if I want to open mine, because I remember that last year I got the 13-year local barley and opened it, and I was a little bit disappointed. A little bit more than a little bit disappointed. A lot of people loved this one, gave it a really great reviews. I found it a little bit acidic and not agreeable with my palate, unfortunately. And I wanted to throw in one more recent release in there, and that is the 10-year Amontillado. This one is part of the sherry series that they're doing, and basically it's aged for 5 years in a bourbon cask and another 5 years in Amontillado cask. So I'm going to pour these and let them sit a little bit. All right, so while we're waiting for those to air, let me tell you a little bit about these bottles. The first bottle is the third in the Springbank sherry series, the Amontillado. If you remember, Amontillado is the type of sherry that's a cross between oxidative and non-oxidative releases. So the oxidative ones would be Oloroso and PX. Non-oxidative would be something like a Fino or Manzanilla. And this is in between, along with Palo Cortado. So the previous one was Palo Cortado. This one is Amontillado. And the outrun on this is 9,900 bottles. It's always bottled at 55% ABV. So I'm guessing that it's that's not cask strength. That is probably, it doesn't say cask strength on it either. So yeah, this one is probably watered down to 55%. So it's exactly at 55% for all the releases. The second in for tonight is the local barley 13-year. That's the release from last year. And the outrun on this was extremely small. It was only 8,400 bottles, bottled at 54.1% cask strength. And yeah, this one is pretty hard to get. So if I tell you the MSRP, they're all 180 MSRP at Total Wine. But secondary on each of them is closer to 300, even probably on this one is probably actually more than 300. It's more like 350 or something like that. Okay, and the last one here we have is the 8-year, and the 8-year is this year's release, which had more of an outrun, 13,500, and is bottled at 58.1% ABV, which is exactly the same as last year's. Oh no, 4 percentage points more than last year's. Okay, so I'm gonna put the caps on and do the randomization. So number 1 will go on the Amontillado, number 2 will go on the 13-year, and number 3 will go on the 8-year. Yes, so as I said, I really am interested to know if I can tell the difference between these, because these are getting quite expensive. I mean, I'm paying on average around $220 to $250 to acquire them every year, and I'm not really visiting them that often. And yeah, I recently, my friend Ralph has introduced me to some auction bottles from the 90s and 80s and 70s, and I have to say, I'm quite intrigued how different and high quality those bottles are. So instead of wasting all this money on limited releases that are just okay, I would much rather put that money towards like a more expensive bottle from yesteryear, which are relatively affordable given how limited they are compared to these. Yeah, not a lot of people really know about that, I guess. So I should probably not tell too many people. Well, my channel is small, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so here we go. Let's get these over here. Okay, so as usual, we will nose them first, give some notes, taste, give some more notes, tell you my preferences, guess which is which, and then we'll do the reveal. Starting by number 1. Ooh, that is relatively acidic on the nose. It definitely like burns if you're not careful and you take a bigger whiff. The predominant note here is basically peated sherry, which comes across as sort of a barbecued rib, barbecue sauce type of note to me. Yeah, I literally think about like you know, bacon with barbecue sauce, or ribs with barbecue sauce, something like that. It's quite inviting, except for that you know, acidic note that makes it a bit sharp. All right, going to the second one. Comparatively much more mellow. Not doesn't have the same acidity and the rough edges that the other one has. They're all around the same ABV. There's only like a couple of percentage point difference, so I don't think the ABV should be making that much difference. There's literally more acidity in this one versus this one. Going to the final one. Ooh, this one is nicer than the other two. It comes across as more complex. Yeah, I definitely prefer this one to both of those. The sherry comes across in this as more well integrated, and it plays a bigger role in the whole experience. It's quite nice. I like it. Okay, so far I think best nose, second best, and least favorite. Let's go for the palate. Yeah, this definitely has a very pepper and acidic mid palate. It arrives quite nicely with those like sort of barbecue flavored notes, but then like it takes a very sharp acidic note, kind of fizzes through my nose and throat, and frankly like hurts my tongue a little bit even. But it doesn't last too long. That dies down, and then the finish is mostly again back to those nice barbecue notes that I enjoy. Yeah, the mid palate is definitely ruined on this one, so not my favorite. Let's try the second one. This one is significantly less acidic than the other one, but it also has a tartness to it. There's a very mouth-drying feel to the end of it. It's like as if I ate a unripe persimmon. So it's enjoyable, but that tartness takes away from the experience for sure. It doesn't have the same acidic attack to the tongue, but the tartness kind of works against it. All right, let's go to the final one. This is definitely more fruity than the other two. The sherry comes across as much nicer. Yeah, compared to the other two, definitely the nose is much more enjoyable. Yeah, definitely like the palate is also more enjoyable. It's bolder. The flavors are better integrated. There's some waves of different fruity notes that happen at the end. It's a step up from both of the other two, both of the other whiskeys for sure. Yeah, that's quite nice. I like that. I like that quite a bit. Um, I'm gonna add a little bit of water because I wanna see like how these play when they have some water in them. So I'm gonna add like 5 drops to each, relatively small drops. So hopefully it doesn't make too much of a difference. And we'll give that a few minutes, so it'll open up a little bit. Actually, right after adding water, it's good to nose it quickly. That got a little bit more acidic, to be honest. So did this. Yeah, they all got a little bit more acidic with water, which is usually not my experience. Usually when I add water, it kind of makes it open up and gets less astringent and less acidic. But in this case, I felt like the water made them all slightly worse. But that's just on the nose and straight away. I'll let them sit for a few minutes, and then we'll try it again and see how the nose and the palate has changed. All right, now that we've given them a few minutes, let's go back and nose them again and taste them. Interesting. Yeah, the nose did mellow out actually. It still has that acidic tone to this though. Let me try the palate again. Yeah, this definitely has a acidic. It has an acidic taste that bothers my tongue and the back of my throat and fizzes up through my nose. Yeah, definitely not enjoyable. Obviously I paid more than $200 for this, and whichever one it is, I'm not happy. It reminds me of the 13-year, but I could be completely off base there, so I don't know. Let's go to the second one. It's very similar. I think if they were not side by side, I probably would be struggling to tell the difference. Yeah, the palate on this has more oak, and it's more tart. It has sort of the same acidity, but it doesn't bother me as much. But it's the same ballpark. I mean, maybe it's a little bit less peated as well, a little bit. But these two are very similar, I would say. This one has more tartness. This one has more acidity, but the finish on this is a bit more enjoyable. This is a bit less enjoyable. Yeah, quite a bit of like tart oak on this. Is really making my mouth dry. Okay, going on to the last one. Yeah, this has got to take the cake on this. The sherry notes on this one are much more complex. They kind of develop um, from different fruitiness. Hard to explain. It's just like sort of like a berry extract and maybe like some cherry extracts. But it develops. There's like, it's not just one note and gone. It kind of like layers and lingers on, and it doesn't have any of the negative notes that the other two have. So yeah, by far my favorite one is this one. I don't know which one it is. Based on what I remember, and keep in mind I haven't like tried these too many times. I've probably tried them like maybe twice. It's the first time I'm trying this one. So I'd like to guess it's the Amontillado. I do have a couple of backups of the Amontillado because when I tried it, I thought it was really good. But I'm not certain. Based on what I remember, I didn't like the 13, so I would imagine this is the 13. And since this is close, I would say this might be the 8. But you know, when you're trying stuff side by side, it's the differences become much more noticeable. I think if I wasn't trying them side by side on any night, I might pick one versus the other as the worst one. I would say I would never, if I tasted them, I would not buy any of them for that price. Of course, they're nice to have in a collection when you have so much whiskey. But yeah, they're not worth $200 something. You know, I think maybe whatever the British prices, which is supposed to be like, I don't know, 70-80 pounds. Sure, I can understand that. But paying 250, 300, 350 here, that's just way too much. Okay, enough rambling. Let's do the reveal and see what we have. Okay, this is number 3. So this is the 8 year. The 8 year is the worst one for me. And this one is number 2. So yes, this is the 13 year, which would make this number 1, which is the Amontillado. Oh, okay. So I'm pretty happy with that result, I think, because I didn't think like in a blind I would be able to pick out again that I don't like the local barleys, these local barleys. I have to say it might be like the way these local barleys, the sherry works in them. They somehow become acidic and astringent. There's that like tartness to them. Versus the Amontillado comes across as more velvety and much more complex, frankly. Yeah, that's really nice. It has that kind of Glen Scotia icons of Campbelltown. The first one, the mermaid one, that was Palo Cortado. As you know, Amontillado is similar to Palo Cortado. So yeah, although the Palo Cortado release from Springbank was terrible, but this one is actually pretty good, and I like it for sure. Given sort of like that they are the same price in secondary, this is by far my favorite. Of course, if you are serious about whiskey collecting, if you come across them at MSRP, sure, why not? But I would try one at the bar first to make sure you like it. And going forward, I'm not really so sure I'll spend any more money on the local barleys. I feel like I should just save that money and put it towards some of the older yesteryear bottles that are still relatively affordable. I mean, you can get like 23, 24, 25 year bottles from 20, 30 years ago, bottled 20, 30 years ago. So like, distilled 50 years ago from distilleries that are far gone, and for $500 or $600 from auction, right? So a couple of these bottles would have paid for one of those exceptionally unique whiskeys. So yeah, I'm definitely going to start rethinking about buying these every year. Yeah, I mean, definitely try them at the bar first. And if you like them, you like them. And I mean, everyone's palate's different. Yeah, okay, I'm going to stop rambling now. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you next time. Cheers.